In this video, we'll show how you can use the pusher service to create applications that do real-time location reporting. So you can see that we have two different UX components running here in two different browsers, and the first UX component here is going to be used to report a location, and the second component here will be used to display the location that this user over here reported on a map. So you can see here that I'm going to go now and report my location, and if you watch the map here, you'll see that when I press this button, a marker will show up automatically showing my current location. So I go here and I press this button, and there's my marker now that showed up automatically. So this user over here didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to hit the refresh button on the browser or make an AJAX callback or do anything. Basically, the pusher service sent out a real-time message that was received by this component here. This is the message that was received, and when this message was received, the message was decoded to get the lat and the long, and then a JavaScript function was called to add a marker to the map. So if I go here, for example, and change the color of this marker to red, and then change the user's name to Tom, and then I'll basically say I'll change the message here, say performing maintenance at client site, and then report my position. So basically what we can see now is that the position got reported. Unfortunately, it got reported at the exact same location, so the icon is behind the previously positioned icon. So I'm going to just go there and rerun this, and then click the button again. So there's our green icon, and if we you can see it says Tom, so that's the username. And if I click on the icon, then you can see there's the message that was received. So what we've shown over here is how the client over here can send out real-time updates to their location, and then those updates will appear in real time on another user's browser. So in a real-world application, this application here might be, say, a PhoneGap app running on a mobile application that might in fact be reporting location in the background continuously, and then this application here might be a console app at the company headquarters, where an administrator is looking at a map showing the location of all of the service people out in the field. So let's pause now and take a look at how this component, or how these two components were actually set up. In a previous video, we showed how you can use Pusher to create real-time location reporting applications. In this video, we'll show how the component that reports its location is configured, and then in the next video we'll show how the component that displays the reported locations on a map is configured. So if we basically look at this component here, we'll see that it has some controls here where the user can specify their name. You can specify what icon color you want to show up on the map, and then you can specify a message that shows up in the detail of the map icon when the user clicks the button on the map. So this is the component that reports position, and if we look at this button over here, report my position, what we'll see is that that button calls a JavaScript function called report my position, And what this function does is, first of all, it gets the username, and it basically checks to see that the username is not blank. If the username is blank, it's going to report an error saying that you need to first specify the username before you can report your position. Then once this test has been successfully completed, then the next thing that the component must do is get the user's current location. So getting the current location is done using the browser's geolocation function, and navigator.geolocation.getCurrentPosition is a built-in method that all browsers support, and that gets the current location. But it's important to recognize that this is an asynchronous function, so it takes a little bit of time for the browser to get the location. And so this function, because it's an async function, takes a callback. So here's the callback. So the OK function gets called once the browser has a location. So let's take a look at how this OK function is defined. So here's the definition of the OK function. And what it does is when the OK function executes, it can read the current latitude and longitude and accuracy from the pos object that is passed into this callback function. So now we have the current position, and we're going to basically take that current position and this object here, and we're going to just stringify it so that we have all of the data in a string. And then we're going to make an AJAX callback to the alpha server, calling an XBasic function called XBReportPosition, and we're going to pass in the data over here. So basically, when this AJAX callback is made, there's going to be a variable called underbar message data, which is the stringified data that was collected from the browser's location reporting service. So now let's go take a look at XBReportPosition. So we'll go to our XBasic functions here, and then look at XBReportPosition. So this XBasic function is called to handle the AJAX callback that is made, and when this XBasic function is called, we can basically get the data that was sent back inside request variables message data, and we can also basically get the username. That's the value in the username field. We can get the icon color, which is the value in the map icon color field. So these are these controls over here: username, map icon color, and map detailed text. So we can get those three fields over here, and then here is our the message data that was passed back. So that was passed back over here. So if it's not blank, then we're going to pass it, because it's going to be in the form of a JSON string, and then we'll be able to get from that message data, we'll be able to get the latitude, the longitude, the username, the icon color, and the marker detail. And then we'll be able to create a new message data field that contains these additional properties that we've added in over here. And now recall, we're on the server side now, so now we can basically send a message. We can broadcast a message on a pusher channel. So we're going to broadcast a message on a pusher channel called location reports. So the component that is watching for messages, the component that has the map on it, has been configured to listen on a channel called location reports. And we've configured our app ID, our key, our secret, and our cluster in server side on dialog initialize event. So we're picking out, these are the credentials from the pusher service, and then we're basically sending a message on this location reports channel. So this is an XBasic helper function over here called pusher send message that takes app ID, key, secret, cluster, channel, and then the actual message text itself, and it actually sends out this pusher message. It broadcasts a message on this channel, so all clients that are listening on location reports will receive the message. We did not use this final parameter there because it's an optional parameter which allows you to pass in a JSON object instead of passing an individual app ID, key, secret, and cluster. But we don't need to use that. So this component here is used to report the position. Let's go now and look at the component that is used to display the position on a map. So if we go here to this component, we'll see that we have our map over here. So if we go over to working preview, we'll see here's our map. This is where we display any messages that were received. This is where we can initialize the pusher service in case this application was launched from a mobile device that was offline at the time the application was launched. So let's go now to properties and scroll down to the pusher section over here. So we've turned on pusher application and we've configured it over here. So we've got our pusher credentials that we've entered over there. This is where the pusher library will be loaded from, and this is the channel that we're going to be listening on. We're going to be listening on location reports because that's the channel that the component that reports position is sending messages on. And then we're going to go to our client-side events over here, and we can see that in the client-side on pusher message, we're going to basically take the message that was received and display it inside this element called pre1. So if we go look over here, we have an element here called pre1. So we're going to actually display the text of the message that was received, and then we're going to go back to our client-side code here. And then we're going to take the message that was received, e.message, we're going to pass it because it's a JSON message, and then we're going to extract from that message the icon color to generate the URL for the icon to display on the map. And we're also going to basically get the username, the latitude, the longitude, and the marker detail information. And then we're going to call this function add marker to add a marker to the map. So then we'll go look at the definition of this add marker function. But we've put all this code in a JavaScript try-catch block in case the message that is received is not in the correct format, so we don't want the application to crash in that case. So we've put it into a try-catch block. Now let's go look at this add marker function. So there's our JavaScript functions. Here's the add marker function, and this function takes the map ID, which is the map ID is basically map 1. So it takes the map ID, the marker name, and we've said that the marker name is going to be the same as the value that was sent in the username field. The location array, which is the latitude and longitude that was reported when the user clicked the report my location button in the component that is used to report location. And then we have title, detail. So this is the detail that is displayed when you click on the marker, and then finally the icon itself. And this is the JavaScript code that adds the marker to the map. You can see that before we add the marker, we remove the existing marker by the name, the existing marker that has the name marker name. So this is the code that handles the receipt of the message, and this is the code that adds the marker to the map. So what we've shown here is how you can easily create a pusher application to do real-time location reporting. Thanks very much for watching.